You're listening to The Edge, 88.1 KDPS. This is Jake, and it is Switch Week here on KDPS, so it's just me, myself, and I've got a solo show tonight for you. And in local news, today the Iowa House approved a gun bill with a stand your ground provision that allows people to use deadly force anywhere if they believe it's necessary to avoid injury or save their life. I think that's pretty interesting because that has been a hot topic with people who are accused of using excessive force when dealing with like a burglar or somebody who's trying to rob them, and they end up, seriously injuring or killing the person trying to rob them. I think this is a really good law that would help them defend themselves better in court so they're not the ones getting in trouble. Also, this would allow children under 14 to use handguns with parental supervision. Now, does that even sound like a good idea? Kids under 14 using handguns with parental supervision. I'm not sure that's such a good idea, but it got passed today, so it's law now. So kids, go out there and have some fun shooting around with your parents. You listen to The Edge, 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1 KDPS, and this is Jake. So yesterday was a pretty big day. It was Oreo's 105th birthday, and I found some crazy facts about Oreos that I bet you didn't know. So the largest Oreo that Oreo has made thus far was 3 inches wide, and it was discontinued after 7 years due to lack of sales. Now, I think bigger is better, in my opinion, and so I'm kind of surprised that Oreo still hasn't stayed in style. A 3-inch Oreo, that's a huge Oreo. Next, Oreo's second flavor was lemon, and that was discontinued after 4 years, which I'm not really surprised about because a lemon Oreo, ew, that's kind of weird. And also, researchers from Connecticut College suggest that Oreos are as addictive as cocaine. Yes, cocaine. Lab rats were used to test that theory, and it was discovered that the pleasure centers in their brains were stimulated just as much with Oreos. So, Oreos are really addictive, and I'm glad it's not just me that thinks that. It's also some lab rats out there in Connecticut, too. Alright, you're listening to The Edge 88.1. This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1 KDPS. So, big news out of last weekend. A local restaurant here in Des Moines has won Grand Champion of the World for barbecue. The restaurant is Smokey D's. It's located right here in Des Moines. It's got 3 locations. And they won the World Championships that took place in Houston last weekend. And I think that's a huge deal, and especially, it's surprising that it's in the state of Iowa. A lot of people think that the best barbecue is probably somewhere down south, maybe Kansas City, Missouri, where there's some good barbecue. But no, it turns out the very best barbecue in the world is actually right here in Des Moines, Iowa, at Smokey D's. Smokey D's also won the best ribs. So they've got the best ribs in the whole world, apparently, right here in Des Moines. So everyone, be sure to check that out sometime. You've got the world's finest ribs right here. Alright, you're listening to The Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got Jake. In a recent video just released by NASA, shows an unidentified object hovering above Earth's surface. And it has distinct glowing lights moving towards it and towards Earth and back towards the ship, or the unidentified flying object. But anyways, alien enthusiasts are going crazy because obviously they think it's an alien mothership and they're sending people down and sending them back up. And, last week Jeffrey and I talked about, the recent reports of aliens, increasing dramatically in the U.S., and the U.S. has most of the world's alien reports. And so, very interesting timing with this video, from NASA being released. NASA also released that information about the newly discovered 7 Earth-sized planets last month. So I'm kind of wondering if there's some correlation between that, the new planets and the alien sightings, Do you think there's aliens out there? I mean, I think it's a possibility. You're listening to The Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. This is Jake. So I found a crazy story that will make you think, oh no, that's unbelievable. So there was a student who nailed a half-court shot at a University of Louisville women's basketball game that would have won him $38,000. But it turns out there was a rule about playing high school basketball the past 6 years. And it turns out that this student did actually play some high school basketball within the past few years. And so he was not allowed to keep the money he won, and some other sort of, prize is going to be given to him. But can you believe that he nailed a half-court shot at a big basketball game, but did not win the prize money that he thought he would? It's unbelievable. It's heartbreaking. But he said he had a good time doing it. It felt amazing, I'm sure. And, hopefully next time he's got everything figured out before he enters contests with, big money on the line. It's a crazy story for you. You're listening to The Edge 88.1. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1 KDPS, and this is Jake. So I found a funny story for you. Arian Foster, a former NFL running back, claims that he could fight a wolf one-on-one. Yes, in fact, he says, I'm 230, wolves are what, 180 to 200 tops? He has no thumbs. If I can control his neck, he's donezo. Alrighty then. He also says, I've studied the wolf, he can't read. I know his weaknesses, plus the thumb thing. End quote. Well, alrighty then. That is a lot to take in, I know, but Arian Foster claims he could fight a wolf one-on-one. I'm not so sure about that. He's got a lot of confidence, though, I think, as with a lot of NFL players. But I think it's pretty funny. I also think he needs to get another, concussion check for his head, because this is a crazy idea. You're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. This is Jake, and I was checking out gvumedia.com, and I discovered an article titled The New Definition of Athlete about an interesting program called esports. And esports are online games in which players compete online to, determine, who's the better player, compete against each other. And it's with people from all around the world, and it's pretty interesting. And, just recently, Grandview has actually announced that they are going to have an esports program here next fall. And so, that's a funny coincidence, that story being, talking about promoting esports and possibly bringing it to Grandview. Well, it turns out it actually happened. Grandview's going to have an esports team. The game is going to be League of Legends. And so I encourage all of you to check out gvumedia.com to find out more information on esports. You're listening to The Edge 88.1. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. You've got the Late Night Jays with Jake and Jeff.
Hello.
So Jeff, Super Bowl 51. History was made. The first Super Bowl to go into overtime. Crazy, crazy game. A tale of two halves. What did you think?
I was amazed. The first half, I was like, Falcons. They were just tearing up the Patriots. I was sitting there just really impressed. Third quarter, fell asleep. Woke up to the Patriots back in it. I was like, what did I just miss? And then get to see them go into overtime. That was crazy. Little disappointed because I was rooting for the Falcons, but that's okay.
Me too, but it made for a really good game.
It did.
And a little bit of awkwardness at the ceremony. the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, who suspended Tom Brady for 4 games at the beginning of the season for Deflategate, had to hand Tom Brady the trophy for winning the Super Bowl. You know, kind of a slap in the face, if you will, from Tom Brady.
Yikes, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Good game, though. All right, you're listening to The Edge, 88.1 KDPS.
This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
What up?
How's it going tonight, Jake?
Pretty good.
All right, Jake. So last week, on February 3rd, Big Sean dropped his latest album. Let's talk numbers. 14 tracks. It was his 4th in the studio. It had 26 producers. Wow. Personally, I think that's a lot of producers, and I think they did a great job on the album. It had 7 features. So, you think Big Sean loves his mom?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You know, he has a lot of references that he, you know, refers back to his mom and how his grandma, like, he's really family, like, based with his songs and stuff. Well, he had 14 references about his mom, so nice. I think that's pretty cool. He had 3 NBA references and 18 God references.
Cool.
So his album, you know, selling great, huge numbers. Everyone go check that out. But talking about Big Sean's last album, let's listen to My Last by Big Sean is next on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
Hey.
Jake, so I see that you're wearing some Under Armour over there.
Heck yeah.
Alright, I have a story about the CEO for Under Armour.
Oh, yeah?
This could be good or bad. So, Under Armour as a company is currently down 30% in their sales from last year.
Really?
Yep, numbers were just came out and they're down 30% this year. And you know, a thing that could really hurt them as well is the CEO kind of said he was backing up Trump and said that he is a real asset for our country. And so the last thing in the article said something about, you know, will that affect him? Like, do you think that non-supporters of Trump will buy Under Armour now that, you know, the CEO says that he supports him?
I can kind of see Under Armour having more problems, like, with their sales due to, you know, people who are very anti-Trump and don't want to support anything he supports.
Mm-hmm.
So I do actually think that could have a negative impact on
I agree,
Under Armour sales.
And that's really sad to see, but, you know, I could see it. So I hope Under Armour bounces back, and, you know, everyone else, I'm sure, that's an Under Armour fan is hoping he'll bounce back. So Make Me Proud is next by Drake and Nicki Minaj on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1.
You're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got the Late Night Jays. And Jeffrey, we're talking about the halftime show. Lady Gaga performed. I think she killed it. And it was the second most watched Super Bowl halftime show in history.
Really?
It was. And
who was the first?
It was Katy Perry was the
really?
first last year.
I honestly thought Lady Gaga was better.
Well, she didn't get as many views. But anyways, I think she did a good job of mixing in a lot of her older stuff that were hits, and, you know, not so much her new stuff that not a whole lot of people have heard, I feel like. It's not as popular.
Yeah, I really liked the lights of the show. You know, they had some flames, the dancers right there on the field had these light stick things, and how all that was coordinated. I thought that was a really cool show. I thought they did a very nice job.
Yeah, that was sweet. And then the opening scene, she's like rappelling down from the roof of the stadium, or at least that's what it looks like. There might be some controversy whether or not that was an illusion or not, but it was pretty sweet.
I agree. I thought that was a pretty cool intro.
Up next, we've got Poker Face by Lady Gaga. You're listening to The Edge 88.1.
This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
Hey, what up?
So, Jake, if you heard about the cops in Florida, or the police in Florida, seizing something with Donald Trump's face on it, what do you think that item or items would be?
I would probably say like packages of marijuana.
Ooh, close. They found 5,500 packages of heroin stamped with Donald Trump's face on them this past Friday. In the mail.
Wow.
It says this guy, Johnson, was in another state. He bought all this heroin, sent it to himself in the mail, and then drove back to Florida. Like, where are these people, like, what are these people thinking? For one, why would you send yourself drugs in the mail? Two, the people that are packaging these drugs, what do you think is going through their head? That's, hey, let's put Donald Trump's face on the package. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that kind of random, you think?
That is crazy, and it sounds like it was their first time getting drugs.
Man, but 5,500 packages, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That sounds like some Tony Montana stuff to me, but Tony Montana by Future and Drake is next on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
Hey.
So, Jake, did you catch the Super Bowl this past weekend?
Oh, yes. Big game.
Man, tough loss for the Falcons, am I right?
It was a crazy game, but both teams played well. Just one team played a little bit better.
A little bit better. Well, a lot of people know that Mark Wahlberg is a huge Patriots fan.
Yes.
They, during the game they showed him. I remember them showing him on the screen, like, just making it a general, everyone knows that he's a Patriots fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw an article today that he left early from the game.
Oh, no.
Didn't get to stay and watch his team come back and win.
Dang.
His quote was, "I had to leave the game early because my youngest son wasn't feeling well. Trust me, I would have loved to be at the stadium, but my family is first. Doesn't mean I don't love the Patriots too." Do you believe that?
I don't know, but what I do know is it hurts to leave a game early and then listen in the radio on the way home that the game has drastically changed and you instantly regret your decision.
I think I might have told my son, be like, "Hey buddy, come on. This is the Super Bowl. We gotta hang out a little bit." So
Tickets are expensive to that.
yes. Well, all I do is win. Next on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
What up?
So, Jake, you know Lil Wayne?
Absolutely.
You know Drake?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, well, Lil Wayne just passed Drake on the most Billboard Hot 100 hits.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is actually a pretty impressive number. Drake now sits third at 132 entries.
Mm-hmm.
Lil Wayne sits at 133. I know they've been going back and forth. Like, Drake has this crazy, 4-year streak right now of being on that list, not dropping off it, which is crazy. I just think that is amazing. It just shows how great those two rappers really are.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though I think that Drake's a little more relevant right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. He's got more songs like with just him, rather than Lil Wayne kind of does mashups with a lot of people, guest appearances and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think I've heard Lil Wayne drop anything new recently. He hasn't had any hits like Drake just dropped an album and is always relevant. So, but throwback to 6 Foot, 7 Foot by Lil Wayne on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
Hey.
So, Jake, on www.gvumedia.com, that's www.gvumedia.com, there's this funny story about a student getting a ferret.
Oh, yeah?
For a pet.
On campus?
Yeah, on campus in one of the freshman dorms. When I think of pet, I think cat or dog.
Maybe a fish.
Maybe a fish. Yeah, but they don't really show affection. You can't cuddle up with a fish, but they are pretty cool.
I get you.
But this story, you should all go check it out, talks about a Grandview freshman who will stay anonymous, went to Petco laid his eyes on a ferret and brought it home. And, you know, the RAs were doing rounds. And I will not tell you what happened next. You have to go to www.gvumedia.com to find out what happened to this ferret. Animals by Maroon 5 is next.
You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1, and you've got the Late Night Jays. And Jeffrey, I'm thinking about getting tickets to see the Chainsmokers. They're coming to Des Moines April 30th, and I've never been to one of their concerts.
Hey, that sounds like it'd be a good concert.
Yeah, and I actually didn't realize that the Chainsmokers are just two guys, like college-age guys, DJs.
Wow.
And they team up with artists to create, you know, all those hit songs that they have. So that was surprising to me.
Yeah, no. When I thought of Chainsmokers, I thought of that it was one guy and a girl just because of the song Closer. I didn't think, what other songs did they do that would have, like, them and two guys in it?
So I'm talking Paris, Closer, Don't Let Me Down. They teamed up with Daya for that one. And Roses. But not a lot of people know that their rise to fame was that hashtag selfie song. And, you know, it's kind of like a parody type song,
like,
but people
let me
like
take
made
a selfie,
it.
like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that one.
Hey.
That's actually the Chainsmokers.
Wow.
Fun fact. It's kind of a funny song, but it took them to the top, pretty much.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
All right, up next you have Closer by the Chainsmokers. You're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. That was Closer by the Chainsmokers, and you're listening to The Edge 88.1 with the Late Night Jays. And Jeffrey, just to dive into politics real quick.
All right, let's go.
History was made today. The Education Secretary was determined with a tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker?
Yes. So the Senate was 50-50. There were 48 Democrats and 2 Republicans that voted against the new Education Secretary, and 50 Republicans that voted for her. So it was a 50-50 vote, and Vice President Mike Pence got to decide the vote as to whether or not she was the Education Secretary, and he voted yes. And so, a little bit of criticism behind her. She doesn't actually have any personal or professional experience in public education or government. And now she's heading both of those things. So,
interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy stuff.
That's kind of weird that it came down to one person to make that final decision. That's kind of, you feel like that's a lot of stress on that one person to make the right decision. But you kind of already knew which side he was obviously going to go for.
Yeah, and it's just kind of crazy how it's so divided, you know. Obviously, all the Democrats voted no, and all the Republicans, except for 2, voted yes. It just kind of shows the division between our country right now. But you're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS, and you're listening to the Late Night Jays. And Jeff, I was checking out gvumedia.com, and I found this interesting story about a Grandview student who lived through Hurricane Katrina. He's from New Orleans. You know Gator, right?
Yes.
And he was young at the time of the hurricane, but his family was evacuated, and the whole story kind of goes through that process and talks about kind of what he did to come back home and the struggle that he went through, and it's a really interesting story.
Wow.
So everybody should check that out, gvumedia.com. You're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. So Jeffrey, last Saturday, I'm still so pumped about this. Iowa State went into Lawrence, Kansas, and knocked off the number 3 ranked Jayhawks with a score of 92 to 89.
Yeah,
that's right. 92 to 89 in overtime, and it was just a huge win for the Cyclones. They snapped Kansas's 51 home game win streak.
What was that? Was that over like 3 years or something?
I mean, that was a long legacy
of
wins at home.
And they're huge rivals too, so I'm sure that game, I have a buddy that actually went to that game, and he said it was wild. He said it was an amazing atmosphere there.
I'm sure it was. I wish I was there because it was crazy.
I bet.
But Iowa, I know you're an Iowa fan. They're also on a win streak. They have won the past 3. Heading into March pretty well. I know it's still February, but March Madness is coming pretty quick.
Yep.
And that's like one of my favorite times of the year.
For sure, yeah. Iowa's looking pretty strong. They're getting the new freshman in. He's doing good. Throwing the ball down, getting some good dunks. I just think Iowa's looking really good this year.
I think we're going to have a lot to root for this March between all the Iowa teams, and it's going to be another great year of March Madness.
Maybe you and I, Iowa State, and Iowa would all make it. That would be pretty crazy.
That would be sweet. All right, you're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. Sure, most kids like school now. But did you know nearly 20% of Des Moines students won't graduate high school in 4 years?
Starting with low-income students, the I Have a Dream Foundation aims to motivate that 20% of students to succeed and graduate. With your donation, the I Have a Dream Foundation will provide tutoring and mentorship for students in elementary through high school.
For more information, please visit DesMoinesDreams.org. I'd like to declare a toast.
To what?
This food. How's the soup?
Fantastic. How's your steak?
Great. This place is perfect for our anniversary.
Yeah, I love the Urban Grill. The Urban Grill offers casual fine dining. No reservations are necessary. There's plenty of room inside and outside on the patio. Located in the heart of Urbandale on 86th Street, the Urban Grill is open Monday through Saturday.
This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
Hey, hey.
So, Jake, I have some Pitch Perfect 3 news for you.
Let's hear it.
That is DJ Khaled is gonna be a guest star in the movie.
Really?
Yes. He went on Instagram last night to say that he was gonna be on the movie.
Sweet. I think that'll be a really interesting guest appearance. That's kind of like a girly movie in my opinion, but throwing in some DJ Khaled might make, a few more guys check it out, see what's up.
I like the idea because Pitch Perfect 2, they had some Green Bay Packers players in there, so I think it's just an interesting spin, maybe to get some more fans in there just to see how it'll really flow. I'm excited. I'm going to definitely check it out.
I'll watch it with you. Next
is No New Friends by DJ Khaled on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
Hey, hey.
So I have a new music alert.
Let's hear it.
MGK is going to be dropping a song with Quavo from Migos and Ty Dolla $ign. What do you think about this combo?
Well, Quavo, from the Migos are really taking over right now, and they've got a lot of popular stuff, changing up the game. I think, the song with the two of those guys is going to be really popular.
I agree with that. Quavo on the Migos. Migos have been dropping lots of music and haven't heard anything new really from Ty Dolla $ign recently. But with Quavo's, the way that he flows and the way that Ty Dolla $ign also can be very good lyrically and is very good on hooks, all three of them, it'll be very interesting to see, who does what part of a song because they're all very musically talented. So, up next is Wild Boy by MGK to get you in the mood for this upcoming song. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. That's Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
What up?
So, of course, I have to talk really quick about Drake's latest album, More Life. Have you listened to it at all?
A little bit, yeah.
It's going crazy on the charts. All 22 cuts are on the top 100 Billboard list. That's crazy.
That's really insane.
It's amazing. Last week we talked about how many streams it was getting, and now it's, obviously with the streams, it's going to be on the top 100 list. What do you think about this number for you? He is officially the most charted solo artist on the Hot 100 list with 154 entries. He passed his leader, Lil Wayne, which had 135.
Wow. That's a huge accomplishment, obviously. He's got to be the most popular artist now. I mean, that's crazy. Congratulations to him.
I would definitely say hats off to him.
Where's it going to go from here? He can only go up, right?
I mean, I hope up. He literally has our generation by the throat right now. He is just, song after song just coming out. It's amazing. So, since everyone, it seems like, is in the mood for Drake, let's play Back to Back by Drake next. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
What up?
So, let's talk about Wiz Khalifa now. He is being told by a mayor from Colombia that he needs to apologize for taking pictures and posting them on Instagram for visiting Pablo Escobar's grave. Like, when I heard that, I'm kind of confused. What do you think?
I wonder what he said when he posted those pictures.
He didn't have a quote.
No quote.
Nope. So how I'm looking at this is Wiz Khalifa was visiting, a historic person's grave, and he took a picture by it. This mayor was saying that maybe he should be taking flowers to people that died because of Pablo. What do you think on that?
Yeah, it's a little controversial. I can see why. And I think, maybe it wasn't necessary, but he did do it. So maybe he should be more respectful, like, from now on. Because I feel like maybe he might have posted it, without the respect or without explaining what he was doing.
Yeah, I definitely kind of understand where he's coming from, kind of a bad guy, goes visits him, but I just don't think that this mayor should get involved. But next is No Sleep by Wiz Khalifa on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
Hey.
So, I have an interesting story about Shaq tipping a waitress $4,000.
4,000?
Yeah, 4 with 3 zeros. That is a lot to be tipped. So basically, Shaq went into this restaurant, and when he sat down, he told the waitress, you know what? The faster I get my food, the bigger the tip. And then at the end of the dinner, he told the waitress, tell me what you want tipped, and I will tip accordingly.
And the waitress asked for $4,000.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on a $4,000 tip?
I think that's so brave and kind of greedy of the waitress to ask $4,000 for a tip. I doubt Shaq's meal cost, $4,000. To demand or to ask for that much. It's really greedy, but I guess she made a whole lot of money out of it.
And I'd kind of like to know the background story of this waitress to see, if they really needed it or if they were just like, oh, $4,000, and boom, he just gave it. But when you have that much money, you have a lot of money to blow, maybe like Birdman, Drake, and Lil Wayne. And so we're going to play that song next on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
What up?
So Jake, I have a really interesting collab that's coming out. Juicy J and Designer have hit the studio.
Alright.
When I heard this, I just busted out laughing. Juicy J is 41 years old.
Yeah.
And in the rap game, I think that's, a decent age. And Designer is 19.
19?
Yeah, that's younger than both of us, and he's had some very good hits.
Yeah.
So, what I'm looking forward to this is, Designer has had some very good music, and Juicy J has also had some good music. The age difference, I'm really wondering if this is going to be a good song. I personally think it's going to be a hit. What do you think?
I think it's going to be so interesting to hear such, the age difference between the songs, how they, mix it up, and I think people will tune in just to figure out, what that song is going to sound like.
I'm seriously calling that it's going to be a hit, so mark my words. Next is We Found Love by Rihanna on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and I'm here to tell you to go to gvumedia.com. That is gvumedia.com. On the top, you will see TV, analysis, and travel stories. I want you to go ahead and click on that, and then you will see a story of 4 guys. It's called 4x7. You got 4 guys talking about 7 segments about how TV has affected society. Great story. Go check it out. It's a video, 15 minutes long, so you don't even have to do anything besides sit back and enjoy it. That is gvumedia.com. On Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Say Ah by Trey Songz is next. On Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1.
Hey, when I give these...
You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1 KDPS, and you've got the Late Night Jays with Jake and Jeff. So, Jeff, this Saturday, the Final Four. Who you got?
Ooh, man, I think I'm going to have to go with South Carolina.
South Carolina?
Yep, just because I don't want the other team to win. The number 1 seed, right?
Gonzaga is the number 1 seed. South Carolina
Who
plays
do you
Gonzaga.
have?
I actually have Gonzaga. They've been my pick since the beginning. They're still in it. Still that number 1 seed. I think they can go all the way. They're good enough.
Well, I watched South Carolina take down Kentucky, and that was a incredible game. You know, that last few minutes was just crazy. So
yeah,
I kind of want the underdog to come back and ruin everyone's bracket, maybe like yours.
Yeah, I feel you. Okay. Well, tune in this Saturday. Watch the Final Four games. You're listening to the Edge 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to the Edge 88.1 KDPS. This is Jake and Jeff, the Late Night Jays.
Yes, sir.
And Jeff, I know we just talked about basketball, but I'm already looking forward to football season. In NFL news, the Raiders have decided to move to Las Vegas, effective in 2020.
Wow. I don't know what to think about this. An NFL team moving locations. I mean, one question that comes to mind: home fans, like people that live around there, longtime fans. Now, if they want to continue to get season tickets, like, do season tickets transfer over? Does this just go up?
I read that they will get their money back for the Oakland season tickets, but then, you know, what about the fans though? All of a sudden, their favorite team is just packing up and moving away to Las Vegas?
I think I'd kind of be a little salty on that myself.
Yeah, me too. Like, I would probably switch teams. I don't think I would support them anymore. I mean, that's not nice.
Go for the rival.
Yes, absolutely. You're listening to the Edge 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to the Edge 88.1 KDPS. This is Jake and Jeff and the Late Night Jays. So, Jeff, along with NFL that we were talking about before, there are some new rules effective this season.
Let's hear them.
So you can no longer jump over the center when they hike the ball for a field goal. That's been effective in the past because a lot of linebackers will jump over this guy and block the field goal before they can kick it.
Is it seen as something that's dangerous, or do you know the reason behind their changing it?
Well, I think just because it's so effective, I think it's controversial because it's kind of easy for an athletic player to do, jump over some guy and then just ruin the whole play.
What are some other rule changes?
So we also got crackback blocks are now illegal, and that's when a guy on offense motions and then cuts really hard into a linebacker and blindsides him, hits him without him seeing. Dangerous play.
I could see that one just because, if it's super dangerous, that's a big deal these days. In football league, they want to keep their players safe as possible.
Along with keeping players safe, now a receiver that's running a pass route is now considered defenseless. So they're going to be more susceptible to draw some penalties from the defense because they're considered defenseless if they're just running a route. So interesting stuff. I'll have to see how that affects the game. Alright, you're listening to The Edge, 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1 KDPS. This is Jake and Jeff with the Late Night Jays.
Yes, sir.
So Jeff's in local news. A vote will take place soon about a new abortion provision. And this provision would ban abortions when there's a heartbeat detected. And a heartbeat is typically detected about 6 weeks into pregnancy, but for some women, like, they wouldn't even know they're pregnant after 6 weeks.
So that kind of makes it really tricky about, you have to know you're pregnant very early, and then you'd have to get your abortion also very early. So
Yes.
that's kind of a tricky law.
So I think it would cause problems for those women who don't know, say 7 weeks pass, they find out that they are pregnant, they don't necessarily want the child, they would not be allowed to get an abortion. Like, they would have to have that child. So, something to think about. I think it's kind of a crazy new provision, but vote on it soon. We'll see what happens. You're listening to The Edge 88.1. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. So, Jeff, a new minimum wage bill has been passed in Iowa yesterday.
Really? Tell me more.
This bill bans, county governments from increasing the minimum wage in Iowa. So no longer can counties determine if they want to give more than the minimum wage. Now they have to do the minimum wage, which is $7.25.
Really? So are they planning on raising minimum wage at all, or are they just planning on that you can't do minimum than the minimum wage?
It's going to stay the same for now, with no chances of increasing it. And in fact, there are 4 Iowa counties that do have a higher minimum wage, and now they'll have to drop it back down to $7.25, which means a lot of people in Iowa are taking a pay cut right now.
Really?
Yeah. So crazy stuff. Polk County is actually one of those counties affected. So if you've got, above a minimum wage job here in the Des Moines area, you might have been kicked down to $7.25. You're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS, and I'm checking out gvumedia.com because there's a fascinating video on how to swing dance. Swing dance is kind of something that me and my girlfriend have kind of wanted to learn how to do. I heard that somebody did a video at Grandview about how to swing dance, so I logged on to gvumedia.com and I found this cool video that shows me the basic steps of how to swing dance. So if you're looking to swing dance too, swing on over to gvumedia.com. You're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got the Late Night Jays. So Jeff, President Trump signed an executive order that will eliminate some of President Obama's efforts to fight global warming.
Global warming,
And a big reason why he eliminated those efforts is because Trump thinks that global warming is a hoax.
Not to jump on the Trump bandwagon, but I mean, in certain aspects, I kind of think global warming is not as big a deal as they say. But then, I have watched, videos about the North Pole and stuff. But I just don't think that it's all cracked up to be, because, hey, live in Iowa, it seems like our winters keep getting colder.
Yeah, I think planets just kind of naturally go through different cycles. I think this is just a warmer cycle. Humans, I bet, have a small impact on the planet, but probably not as big as we think. So, I don't know. It's up to you to decide. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jake
and Jeff from the Evening Jays.
And you can catch us on Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1.
And come chill with us, the Starstruck ladies, for celebrity news and fun facts.
And don't forget about weird news on The Wacky World with Wheels and Scott.
Catch us and a whole lot more when you tune in to weekdays after 4 to The Edge 88.1. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got Jake here from the Evening Jays, and it is Switch Week, so I'm here by myself today in the studio. In the spirit of Halloween, did you know that breaking a mirror is bad luck? Because it definitely is. And the story behind that is that throughout ancient history, mirrors were thought to possess supernatural powers, like predicting the future. So that means if you shattered a mirror, then you shattered your future. And that's why mirrors are bad luck. But did you know that there's a way to actually lift that curse? If you bury the glass that you broke in the ground, 1 year later, the curse will wear off, and you'll have 6 years of good luck just like you did normally. Alright, you're listening to The Edge 88.1 KDPS. Alright, you've got Jake in the Evening Jays on Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. So Amazon is actually looking to deliver packages inside your home. Yeah, that's right, inside your home. A new smart lock system and camera that they're selling will allow you to set your lock with a certain code, and then a driver will be able to come up, and Amazon will allow the driver to unlock your door, go into your home, place the package inside your home, and leave, and the door will lock again. You know, with this, I see a lot of problems happening, like, you know, lawsuits or claims that drivers went into people's houses and saw something they didn't need to see, or possibly stole something, or made a mess of the place. This is just it's a risky idea from Amazon for sure. It sounds cool. I think it'll cause more problems than it's worth, but I guess we'll have to find out. Alright, you've got The Edge 88.1 KDPS. That was 24 Karat Magic on Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got Jake here with the Evening Jays. And I was scrolling around on Facebook, and I saw that an Ohio man built a Star Wars walker as big as his house for Halloween this year. Yeah, that's right. It's called an AT-AT. It's like the robot camel that walks around in the Star Wars movies, especially in The Empire Strikes Back. And he's been working on it every weekend since April. Every single weekend since April, this guy's been building this giant robot camel in his front yard just for Halloween. I love the dedication of this guy, and it comes at a great time with the new Star Wars movie coming out this December, The Last Jedi. I think it's fantastic. I wish I could see it in person. It sounds amazing. It's made out of foam, wood, and plastic barrels, and it looks realistic. Like, it looks very realistic. Alright, so check that out online. You got Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. Alright, you've got Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. So I was scrolling around on gvumedia.com, and I found this sweet article on the Iowa Wolves. You may have noticed, but the Iowa Energy are no longer here, and so is the D-League, basketball league actually. Now it's the G League, and that stands for the Gatorade League, because Gatorade bought out the D-League, and that came with a new name and a new logo for the Iowa Energy. Now they're the Iowa Wolves. So once again on GVU Media, check out that homepage article about the Iowa Wolves. Alright, you're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. Alright, that was Young, Dumb, and Broke on Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. So, this is Jake with the Evening Jays, and I've got your late night weekend box office results. This weekend, our number one movie was Tyler Perry's Boo 2, followed by Geostorm, followed by Happy Death Day. So the sci-fi and the horror movies doing really well, obviously, for this time of the month. And I really like the idea of Geostorm, actually. I think humans could someday actually control the weather, or at least have some sort of influence. Geostorm seems like a really cool concept, and you guys should check out that movie for sure. It came in at number 2 last weekend. Let's see where it goes next weekend. Alright, you've got Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. That was Sorry Not Sorry by Demi Lovato on Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. Alright, so here's a spooky movie premiering for you tomorrow for the Halloween season. It's called Jigsaw. Jigsaw is based off of the Saw series. That was 7 movies, and now this is the 8th movie. And Jigsaw is about a madman who rounds up their victims and tortures them with these sick games of life and death. I've seen the Saw movies, they're pretty gruesome. This one's no doubt going to be gruesome as well. Supposedly the killer Jigsaw died 10 years ago, but now it seems like he's back from the dead looking for more. Alright, go check that one out. You've got Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1. That was Miami on Des Moines Radio Mashup, The Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got Jake in the Evening Jays, and I am so pumped about Iowa State's football season this year. So calling all Cyclone fans, Iowa State is in the top 25 for the first time since 2005. That's amazing. It really is. They're off to a 5-2 start, including a huge win on the road at number 3 Oklahoma. Homecoming is this weekend. It's home against TCU, number 4, and it's going to be a huge one, guys. TCU is a 6.5-point favorite right now, but I think Iowa State is definitely going to take it to them, give it their all, just like they did at Oklahoma. They got the home crowd behind them this time. I'm really looking forward to it. You guys should be too. Iowa State is doing fantastic this year. Looking for a bowl game. Let's go Cyclone. All right, that was Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1. This is Jake Thompson with KDPS News, and in honor of election season, I've got Kendall Antle with me here in the office. How are you today, Kendall?
Good, Jake. Thanks for having me tonight.
No problem. Thanks for coming. And so, Kendall, I wanted to focus on your platform coming into the 2016-2017 school year. And I noticed that one of your main points was connecting with other schools in the area. So I wanted to ask you about how that's been going and what you've been doing recently.
That is correct. One of the platform's ideas that Jordan Donnells and I ran on was to reach out and connect to another university's student government association. In that case, in the recent weeks, I've been in contact with William Penn University's Student Government Association. One thing that we're trying to coordinate right now is for their government to come visit our university's campus, as well as sit in on a formal Viking Council Executive Board meeting. The purpose of that meeting would be for their government association to learn from our government association. And likewise, we would collaborate with each other, learn about different techniques, just open up to new perspectives and see how different governments are run around the state.
Yeah, that sounds great. Another point you had in your platform was about student discounts. And I know from last year there's been a lot of improvements, and I've seen a lot more discounts. I've got a whole magnet on my fridge full of stuff. So tell me a little bit about that process. How did that go?
Well, that was one of the big things that Jordan and I wanted to begin, and we began that immediately in May and into June. Last year we had 8 student discounts available to all Granite View University students, and we now have 22, so we increased our number by 16. Jordan and I are very big on having student representation, and as well as having our students be represented not only on campus but as well as throughout the community. And student discounts, by virtue of those, that's another form of representation and commitment from the Des Moines metropolitan area. Out of those 22, a couple of the big key ones we received was just going down the list here. We have Air Lanes Bowling Center, a $6 all-you-can bowl for 2 hours. Dairy Queen up in Ankeny, 10% off. 22% off all supplements at the Complete Nutrition out in West Des Moines. And then the real big one here that I'd like to announce is the 40% off all in-store purchases at Papa Murphy's, located right next to Subway, where you get a free cookie with any purchase.
That's perfect. It sounds like the perfect meal. Pizza and a free cookie.
Sure does, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So have you had any interesting stories or strange things that have happened in the process of getting these student discounts?
I sure have, and I have one that comes to mind here. We had 23 student discounts, and that number dropped down to 22 in July. I went to an Applebee's location on Southeast 14th, and I had an agreement with their general manager. And then I got a call within 24 hours from their regional manager, throughout the state of Iowa, and said that they were no longer going to contribute to the 10% discount that I had agreed upon. So wow. We almost had 10% at Applebee's. Well, we did have it for about 16 hours. So
wow, that would have been useful.
Very.
That's crazy. And then lastly, your final platform that you ran on was on-campus interaction. And I know we just had Global Vision Week, and Homecoming was a couple weeks before that. So tell me a little bit about what you saw on campus as far as interaction goes between important topics in the world.
Yeah, with the whole illicit on-campus idea Jordan and I had, it had to do with her and I both lived on campus last year, and we would notice that at times this university would be quote-unquote a suitcase college. There'd be a lot of cars gone on the weekends. You'd have a lot of people coming back on Sundays. You know, Jordan and I, we felt as if the student body wasn't getting the full feel for what it meant to have the college experience. And our goal was to elicit a little bit more on-campus interaction. And through that, with homecoming, I'll go first since that was, the first event. One on-campus activity that we improved was the street painting event. Last year's record was set at 48 squares total painted. This year, the new Viking Council Executive Board really promoted that event and opened it up to all students and all administration, faculty, and staff. And we had 65 new squares. So we pretty much shattered that record. In addition to that, with Global Vision Week, like you mentioned, we had, I cannot remember the exact amount off the top of my head right now, but we had increased student involvement. And what I mean by that is we had several clubs and organizations that we oversee go and promote themselves as well as host events in conjunction with Global Vision Week. So they were not only promoting themselves in Grandview University, they were promoting the Global Vision Week theme, Humans First, through bridging through dialogue. So it was a great week.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And I've definitely noticed a change between presidencies since last year and this year.
Well,
and you're doing a fantastic job.
Well,
I really enjoy
it.
watching what you're doing. So I thank you again for coming. That's all we have time for today. And this has been KDPS News with Jake Thompson, signing off. See you later. You've got the Evening Jays on Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1 KDPS. It's another fine Wednesday night, 8 p.m. And Jeff, some big news today. 4 assistant basketball coaches in the NCAA were arrested for bribery, conspiracy, fraud, and even more.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of bad stuff that you don't want to get tangled up into if you're a coach.
For sure. And in fact, Louisville actually removed their head coach and athletic director today. Like, those are like huge positions, and they just fired them.
Yeah, those are big teams too.
So teams that were affected by the bribery scandal were coaches from Oklahoma State, Arizona, USC, and Auburn. So those coaches have all been arrested, they're in jail.
Wow.
And it's because they were giving money, secretly to players' families to get them to come here. There's a big old circle rotation. And also another scandal that they caught on to as well, Adidas, the clothing and shoe company, was actually giving money and merchandise to Louisville and Miami. And then they were distributing it to the basketball players to get them to come.
Wow, so do you think Adidas is going to get arrested? People from Adidas are going to get arrested? Or what do you think is going to happen with that?
I mean, they're looking into it right now because somebody has obviously been funneling supplies in there, and they've been funneling it to the players, and that's not legal at all.
Wow.
This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1 KDPS. What's up, guys? You've got the Evening Jays on Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1. So, Jeff, certain celebrities are challenging everything we thought that we ever knew.
What do you mean by that?
Certain celebrities are claiming that the Earth is flat.
I hate to tell them, but I have a strong feeling that the Earth is actually round.
I don't know. Listen to who thinks it. Maybe you'll change your mind. So Kyrie Irving, NBA basketball player, thinks it's completely flat. NFL player Sammy Watkins, and the most recent rapper B.O.B. Bob.
Really?
He's come out and thinks that there's no evidence that the Earth is round and everything's just being fed to us by the government.
So what are they going to do to prove it wrong?
Well, actually, Bob has he's paid to launch some satellites up into space to see for himself if the Earth is actually round.
I feel like that's a huge waste of money. Take people's pictures and videos from the space station. Take their word for it. I really feel like it's kind of a waste of money and time.
Their main claim is that when you go outside and look on the horizon, you don't see any curve, you just see the straight line horizon.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's a very valid point, but alright.
That's their main argument. I don't know what else to say. You've got Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got Jake and Jeff here, the Evening Jays. And Jeff, tomorrow, primetime game, Thursday night, I'm not talking NFL this time. I'm talking college football. Iowa State.
Ooh, Iowa State. I wish you were saying Hawks. Let's go Hawks. But, all right, Iowa State, who they playing?
They're playing at home against Texas. Big game. That's kind of a rivalry here.
I'd say so. Yeah, that's a pretty big game. Who do you got?
Of course I have Iowa State, but Texas is predicted to win by 5.
That's it? Only by 5?
Only by 5. It could be a close game. Texas only has 1 win. Iowa State has 2 wins.
Huh.
I'm not saying they play the same caliber teams, but Iowa State's got the better record right now. But anyways, the main point of that story is that Iowa State will not be taking the field tomorrow during the national anthem.
Really?
Yeah. It's led by Alan Lazard. He tweeted out that it's disgusting to have the leader of the free world like this. And that kind of sparked the idea to just not show up for the national anthem.
That's kind of interesting. You know, we heard about it taking over NFL games, and now it seems like it's going to start trickling down to the NCAA games as well.
Yep. It is what it is. I won't give my opinion on it, but we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1. You've got the Evening Jays here on Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1. This is Jake, and I'm urging you guys to check out gvumedia.com. And when you get there, click on Student Print Stories and check out this story called Into the Wild. I'm sure you might have heard some crazy college stories of pets being brought into dorm rooms that aren't supposed to be there, but I'm not sure if you've ever heard a story quite like this one with this certain animal that shows up in a dorm room. So check it out once again at gvumedia.com. You're listening to the Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got Jake and Jeff here on Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1 KDPS. So Jeff, Monday, Warner Bros. And New Line Cinema announced that the movie It will have a sequel coming in 2019.
Really? Is that that scary movie that I told you I refused to go see?
Yep, the one with that clown who kidnaps children.
I've been seeing a lot of memes about that, and I just can't get myself to get over my fear of scary movies and go watch that.
Well, it has officially become the new top-grossing horror film of all time.
Really?
Yep, so it's super popular.
Maybe I'll give in and I'll go watch it.
They've made $478.1 million on it globally.
I've never heard of a sequel to a scary movie though, so that's pretty cool.
This will be pretty cool. I think, September 6th, 2019, It sequel. I think it's got to be super popular again. If this was the top-grossing horror film of all time, I think the sequel is going to be pretty close. We'll check it out in a couple years. You're listening to Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1.
Tell me what you know about this.
Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1 KDPS. You've got the Evening Jays here. It's Jake and Jeff. Speaking of movies, Jeff, this Friday we've got Flatliners premiering in theaters.
Flatliner?
Yep.
Please explain to me what that is.
So basically it's about these 5 medical students who are trying to figure out what happens after death. And so what they do is they medically stop their heart, and then they resuscitate themselves, and then I guess some crazy stuff happens to them afterwards. I'm not going to give it away. I don't know much about it myself, but I guess paranormal stuff happens to them.
Would you consider that another scary movie, or do you consider this action? What do you think?
Well, it is considered a horror movie and a sci-fi film. So we'll have to see if it can compare with It, if it can compete with it.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a really interesting story because, when you brought that up, to me that sounds like something that someone would legitimately try to do a study on.
Right.
And I asked, I was like, wait, is that a movie or real life? So that'll be kind of interesting to see what the outcomes from this movie could maybe turn into real life.
It's a little more realistic than some clown running around kidnapping children.
I agree there.
You're listening to the Evening Jays on Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1. You've got the Evening Jays on Des Moines Radio Mashup, the Edge 88.1. So Jeff, lately astronomers have been looking into this star that has been getting dimmer and brighter, and they can't necessarily like time it or explain why it's getting dimmer and brighter. The normal reason is that just like a planet is revolving around that star because it's the sun, and the planet gets in the way, and so it gets a little dimmer, and when it moves around, it gets brighter. However, that doesn't seem to be the case, and so there's a bunch of theories out there. But I mean, do you have any ideas?
Man, only logical explanation I would say gotta be aliens.
Aliens has been thrown out there.
Really?
It has been thrown out there, not by scientists probably, but conspiracy theorist type people.
Maybe it's like solar system eclipse that we're seeing. Maybe they just need the right glasses to check it out.
They have been focusing a lot of the world's telescopes in that area to see what they can discover. I think the leading idea is that it's like a swarm of comets that are passing through, but they still can't see it very clearly, and it's not on time, like they can't time it, so just a weird phenomena that I wonder what will happen. You're listening to The Edge 88.1.
Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey.
And I'm Jake, and this is the Evening Jays.
Alright, Jake, so I got a question for you. Have you been to many concerts?
Yeah, I have.
Has any of those performers stage dived?
No, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing that.
Really? Alright, well, we got Post Malone, a recent showing that he did. He stage dove, and let's just say his fans did not catch him.
Oh no, did he get hurt or anything?
Nope, he bounced back, you could say, as in he kind of fell on people, hit the ground, kept singing, just kind of laughed it off. He's kind of a goofy guy anyway, so...
That's funny that they didn't catch him, because wouldn't the fans want to touch him and say that they were part of the mob that carried him? But
yeah, I was at the Macklemore concert a few years back here, and when he went to jump, I was way back away, and everyone just swarmed, like there was no control over it. And in the videos, it looked like everyone was not expecting it. It looked kind of like it didn't wave people in, so yeah. I'm going to say it was his fault, but we'll see. Alright, Congratulations is next by Post Malone on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeff, and with me is Jake.
It's the Evening Jays.
Always, Wednesdays. Alright, so if I say we got a big celeb birthday tonight, first name starts with Lil, who you guessing?
Maybe like Lil Uzi?
Nah, what if I say Young Money?
Not ringing a bell for me.
Alright, Lil Wayne, man. It is Lil Wayne's 35th birthday today.
35?
Yeah.
Wow.
To me, that is crazy because as long as I can remember, Lil Wayne was always very popular, kind of fell off, and just dropped his song the other day.
Nice.
Extremely good. I just think that's crazy. Lil Wayne has had, a very interesting past with shootings, and he recently, within the last month, he had a seizure or some passing out issues.
Yeah, 35 might be getting a little bit of wear and tear,
especially for a rapper's lifestyle of partying for years and years and years.
That's kind of old to be in the rap game, in my opinion, but I mean that's still really cool that he's still coming up with stuff at his age.
I think it is too, but you got Juicy J is older than that. So, yeah. All right, well next we got 6 Foot 7 Foot by Lil Wayne on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
It's Wednesday, so you've got the Evening Jays.
All right, Jake. So the temperature's cooling off a little bit. It's getting a little colder.
Yep, I've noticed.
In the winter, what do you think happens to your car a lot in these times?
It'll either stall or it won't even start.
Yeah, it won't start. We got people's batteries going dead. Well, last night I got this call from a friend here at school. Oh, my battery's dead. I need my car jumped. And I was like, oh my gosh. All right, send me your location. I'll be on my way. So everyone, go out and get jumper cables. Jake, do you have jumper cables?
I do. I always have them in my trunk.
I was gonna say, now that I told you to get jumper cables, if you call me, I'm not coming to get you, because that is my warning right now.
All right, I understand. But if your battery is failing you when it's only a low of 50 degrees right now, you probably need to get a new battery before winter comes.
Yeah, that's probably... I would rather have my battery die now than in the winter.
For sure.
Alright, Cruise is next by Florida Georgia Line on Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and I'm here to tell you to go to gvumedia.com. That is gvumedia.com. When you get to the homepage, scroll down a few videos and look at the GVU maintenance versus Mother Nature. We were just talking about car batteries and the weather changing, so that video is kind of a cool video that shows people around here what the maintenance staff is doing when the weather changes in the summer. So just go check it out. It's a great video. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
It's the Evening Jays on Wednesdays.
Alright, Jake, I got a throwback for something that, our age kids might not remember fully, but a little older people will. 13 years ago, do you remember the Justin Timberlake's, some people call it the Nipplegate incident?
I wasn't watching it live, but I have gone back and watched that video, and yep, I remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember it happening, but I definitely remember that time period where it happened. Well, I'm bringing this up because that was 13 years ago. The NFL has circled back to Justin Timberlake for a NFL halftime performance of the Super Bowl.
Nice. So he'll be the next Super Bowl performance?
That's what it's sounding like. They're trying to finalize some deals, so don't quote me yet because it's not completely finalized.
Gotcha.
But it's definitely in the works, and it sounds like it's going to be official here pretty soon. I think that's kind of funny that they're going to let him back after something that big happened.
And I wonder if he'll have any guest appearances by female
maybe
singers.
They'll have it be a solo show of just him, that he's not allowed to have any other guests.
That sounds good to me. He's got some good stuff, so I'm looking forward to it.
He does. Speaking of good stuff, he's got TKO, and that is up next. Justin Timberlake. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeffrey, and with me is Jake.
This is the Evening Jays.
Alright, so I got some exciting baby news for you, Jake.
Well, lay it on me.
Alright, we got the rapper Travis Scott is having a baby with Kylie Jenner.
Wow.
If you remember back a long time ago when we were having this conversation about when they started to date, I never would have guessed that they would be having a baby together.
Well, crazy things happen.
They do. I think that's kind of an interesting couple. When they first started dating, I didn't think they were going to last, and now they're having a baby together, so obviously they're happy.
I guess so. That's all we can hope for.
That baby, I feel like, is going to have some interesting friends, because as a rapper, and, Kylie being famous, with DJ Khaled having his baby, and I feel like there were some pretty powerful people this year that had some babies. They're going to have some interesting play dates, I think.
That'll be an interesting generation of kids that comes up.
That will be. We will keep you updated on more babies. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1. I'm Jeff.
And I am Jake.
With the Evening Jays. Alright, Jake. So I remember a few weeks back you were telling me that your family got a DirecTV package.
Yeah, we got the NFL Sunday ticket, so now I can watch my Carolina Panthers on my phone every Sunday.
That's pretty exciting, because today I just saw in the news that DirecTV is actually giving out refunds over the NFL game packages because people are canceling their packages because of the kneeling protest. I'm not trying to bring that up again. I'm just trying to bring up, it's affecting more than just, social media stuff. People are actually canceling their DirecTV subscriptions.
There's a couple interesting points here. One is that people are canceling their subscriptions totally just because of kneeling at the national anthem. And the other interesting thing is that DirecTV is actually giving refunds to those people. So, it kind of seems like they're taking a side on what they favor. They must be against the kneeling because they're letting people have their money back for that reason.
I agree. I just think it's kind of crazy how it's affecting so many other things, that it's coming to people canceling DirecTV packages because so that'll be for weeks to come. I'm sure we will keep you updated. This is Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.1.